Good evening, everyone. We are together with Orlando Wilson, and tonight we're going to talk about what can one do in case of an improvised explosion device situation. Orlando, the floor is yours.
IEDs are the most dangerous terrorist criminal weapon out there. Why? They can be disguised as anything, any size, etc. They can be as small as a cigarette packet to as large as a truck. What can you do? Well, if you're under that type of threat, and most people will never be under that type of threat, then there are precautions you could take. For the general public, with incidents like there was recently an IED blast in Turkey, in Istanbul. And again, the people caught up in that, what could they have done in that situation? Well, there's not much they could do because they didn't know there was an IED on a chair waiting to go off. This is the thing, if you're not able to identify the IED, and if it's well concealed, this was just concealed in a bag, the IED in Turkey, you're not going to know it's an IED, and the first time you're going to know it's an IED is when it goes off and kills people. So up until that point, there's not much you can do unless you spot something suspicious. And I don't have time in this video to talk about what could be suspicious, because absolutely anything could be suspicious. It's working out whether you're under a direct threat or if you're in an area where there could be a good chance of an IED attack. There's not much you can do up until that point, but if an IED goes off, such as the one in Istanbul, you want to exit the area as quickly as possible. Don't try to be a hero. Don't try helping people. Look after yourself. Look after your family. If you're providing close protection services, look after your client and exit the area as quickly as possible. Do not use obvious escape routes. Do not use the routes everybody else is taking. Use the less obvious routes. Why? Because of secondary devices. If the bomber is professional, the main device the main device could be there for no other reason but to drive people into a more deadly secondary device. So you always want to be aware that if there's one attack, there could be a secondary attack. So move your client, move yourself, move your family out of the area by the least obvious escape routes possible. That road in Istanbul, where the device was, I was there recently, and again, there's lots of little alleyways, offshoots off that road that would make ideal exits. I wouldn't be heading with the masses of people towards what could be a secondary device. You could also go to ground and wait for things to quieten down, but for that you want to be in a building, preferably in a room with no windows, because if an IED goes off, it's not only the shrapnel from the IED, everything around it can be turned into shrapnel, including glass. So if you're in a glass-fronted building, a device goes off outside, all that glass can be turned into shrapnel and can shred people. I tell people good safe rooms in cafes, restaurants are generally the toilets, because they tend not to have windows, or if they have windows, they're high up. So this is where you need to work out your plan wherever you are. If something goes off, if there is an IED attack, get the hell out of the area as quickly as possible, not using obvious escape routes, or go to ground somewhere, go to a safe area safe room, safe building where there's very few windows, and you're out of the way of any flying debris. It's all basic, it's all very simple, and I think these days everybody needs to be aware of what to do in a IED attack or an active shooter situation. I've got a book online about counterterrorism, how to deal with active shooter incidents and also IED attacks. It's all simple. It's not rocket science. It's all stuff I think these days, if you're living in a major city, everybody should understand.
Thank you very much, Orlando. That's all for tonight, folks. If you want a specific answer to a specific question, you can always use the comments below. Thank you very much. Good night.